The other one I want to talk about, and this is where I think the Honorable AG can start off the discussions, is we have found in this new freedom also that's been given more than ever, the drugs issue. For example, it has been there, underlying, but it was not being revealed to us as the media, or how bad the situation was. Every time you were trying to verify information, the full information was not being given. And now, as you know, the amount of methamphetamine, the hard drugs that are being found, and all these issues that are now in the spotlight because of the information also being released by the government and the police force. Honorable AG, if you can share your thoughts on.
Yes, as a member of, former member of the judiciary, when you hear the exhibits been missing from police stations, that's a concern. And you observe it from time to time. Later on, when you hear people who've been arrested for drugs and later released, of course that's serious. And in one of my remarks early this year to the seaports, when I was quite shocked when we learned that the mechanism within the law enforcement agencies are no longer there. So what is there to police? And that's what they put into place. You know, it's very sensitive information about drugs. We have a unit in the police world over. This not exclusive to Fiji, world over. There is this thing that the sensitivity of this information. Sometimes it's difficult for them to share the information, and you only come to light now what has been going on all these years, because I think, to be fair and honest, there was no concrete action by the previous government to address this, particularly from its own agency, the law enforcement agency. And that's why we are in this mess, may I say. No, it's mind-boggling when you hear information. I visited one of the government agency that looks healthcare, public service, public health. And the officer advised me as to their clients who come in, give information, and who sells drugs to them? And they say, from the one on the seat to the very one on top. I would like to know who is one on the top. But when they say that, that means it's someone who has authority and control. That's my first conversation I would like to have because of confidentiality issue. But I just want to know, and I know we are really in a big mess. The schools, we talk about drugs, it's in the schools. When you talk about AIDS, we're talking about the youngest as 10 years old. The unconfirmed numbers of the last 3 months of AIDS is almost more than half of the whole of last year. Why it has spiked? Because of drugs. That's why it's important for the media to reach out to the faith-based organization, to the Vanua. The Ra province 2 weeks ago have declared a strategy to combat drugs. But then it has to trickle down from the Vanua province to the Tikina, to the district, to the village, and it goes to the village. And I think that's where you have a role to play. I'm grateful that I think one of the media will be accompanying my trip. And they're a very good team, the team in the police, in terms of awareness. Because this is the information that really needs to know for people in the village. Because it's no longer an urban thing. It's also stretched out. But we can overcome if we are united, if they understand there is a stretch this by the law enforcement agency, and very soon government is going, I think it's probably in today's paper, but we need the collaboration of the media in terms of synthesizing this out to the members of the public. Okay? You may have heard we have no drug rehabilitation. That is a challenge for government. No, we can't complain, but what are the solutions? So that's a work in progress. We need to have a rehabilitation so that we can cure for them. Enough.
Very, very glad that you raised that issue, the issue of drugs. As an organization, we've been asking the question since, as far back as 2016, 2017. We've been given a scenario that marijuana was the big drug. Until this year in January, when we had that Lenga raid, which amounted to what? I think over $2 billion, 4.1 tons. It showed something. It showed, it reflects something. It reflects the fact that this thing has been around for some time. It didn't just pop out of the woodworks and just came this year. It has happened for some time, and I think it's our responsibility as media organizations to highlight this, but it's also the government's responsibility to make sure that measures are put in place, processes are put in place, and one of the things that we have also been highlighting is, as the Attorney General has mentioned, is the need for us to have rehabilitation centers. We feel that rehabilitation centers are critically important. Why they're important? Because of the percentage of people who may become addicts over the next few years. And if you read through about meth addiction, ice addiction, it's pretty difficult to get out of. It's going to take experts to actually get people weaned of these drugs. So one of the things that we've been promoting, pushing for, is the need for us to have rehabilitation centers. But I think it's important that the government sits up and takes notice as well now. If this was happening a while ago, who should be held accountable for the fact that nothing was known? And I think it's, again, imperative on all of us as media practitioners to continue harping on about this. We may not be the solution where we are able to stop it, but we can be a solution in the sense that we are pushing for rehabilitation center and making, empowering people to get out of addiction, which is, I feel, one of the biggest problems that we're facing in our country, and one of the biggest problems we will face in years to come.
I think what's also lacking is connecting the dots, drugs, trafficking in persons, and other social issues that arise as a result. So I think, to hear that the Ministry of Defense only has $10,000 set aside for trafficking in persons, I think that's an area where government really needs to pour in resources, because if we don't, it will be too late, and that action needs to happen now. And I think with the collaboration between government, civil society organizations, and the media, I think then we'll be able to see some results.
I think this is a growing concern that we have, and maybe because we are now reading more of it in the media, but I think what's important that there should be follow-up reporting on it. There needs to be, if there's a comment given and processes are put in place, public members need to know about that. And if government has made a decision and things have, they have reported and said certain action plans have been have taken place, reporters need to investigate that and to ensure that those actions are taken, and if not, ask continue to ask questions as to who's responsible. It's good to be reading a lot of that today, but that is raising a lot of concerns. Our social issues are increasing, but it's the way these things are happening at a fast pace is also a very big concern. And I think citizens need to continue to be updated, but at the same time, actions that are taken by all partners concerned need to be reported and follow up on those things that have actions that are said to have taken place. I think reporters can follow up and continue to update the public with information and educate also. These issues are huge today, but we are happy to be reading them. But I think these things began years ago, and we did not have information or reporting taking place on these matters. Thank you.
Thank you. I have that same question for Eva as a journalist as well, and what she raised, because the issue is we can see now the information is forthcoming, which is really showing us the true picture now. And I know, I mean, for many years I was asking many questions about these hard drug cases, and we were basically being told that is not correct, that's just hearsay. So what are you getting as a journalist now in terms of some of these issues? For example, we're getting some of the real issues on the ground on how bad the situation is here.
Yes, you've rightly stated that much more of the issues have been highlighted now in the media. Drugs and most importantly water was in the Suvarnasari corridor, as we have just experienced like in the past few weeks, where Water Authority is just coming out with influx of information where they give like one update in the morning, one on midday, and one like in the afternoon of what they were doing in trying to get the hundreds and thousands of people that were without water because of a burst main in Tamavua. I mean, that was something that never happened before. And in terms of drugs, I know another challenge that journalists face nowadays in social media. We are trying to compete with social media, believe it or not. People out there know much more information that like the media knows now, because of the things they read, things they watch, things they listen to on social media. And we, the media, have a role to play in asking the relevant authorities in giving us the correct information so that we tell them, the ordinary members of the public, that's wrong, that's right. So, well, as a journalist, the influx of information we're getting now is good, but then when we ask follow-up questions to relevant authorities, we think that there is some sort of like laid-back response, because the questions are getting deeper. Sometimes it's just put out there and not in that detail that's coming out. Renata.